works. So I have a couple of suggestions for hip discomfort. So I have recommended quite a few exercises to clients for hip issues. There are some other videos. The video for sciatica is great for hip pain, not necessarily if you actually have sciatica, but it does show you a couple stretches. I'm going to include some of those in here as well. So let's get started. So our hips are ball and socket joint, and a lot of times we're just walking forward, right? So we're just going to get some movement in the hips. So just taking your hip out 3 circles, and you only want to do what feels comfortable. So if it's catching, just don't go as far out, okay? And then we're going to go the other direction. 3 circles in. And so if you're having hip issues on both sides, you would do 3 circles on the other side. Now I recommend doing both legs even if one hip is bothering you, because the hips and the pelvis, they really work as a team. When your pelvis is off, it affects the whole upper body and can affect your lower body as well, okay? So 3 circles out, 3 circles in. That's just really good for the actual hip joint. If you have some arthritis or something going on in there, you can always put heat on it too. That always feels really good. So now we're just going to do a real simple stretch. We're going to stand on our right foot, and we're going to step over with our left, and then we're going to lean over to the left, okay? So we're standing on our right foot. We take the left foot over, and then we're going to lean to the left. Now you can put your hand on your hip for support and take the right arm up. So this is really good. Depending where you're tight, you might feel this in the ribs. You might feel it all the way down the hip or the IT band. And you want to hold that for about 30 seconds if you can, and then come back up to center. So we'll switch sides. So we're going to step on our left leg, and we're going to take our right foot and just cross it over the left. Put our hand on our hip for support if you need it. You can always do these right up against the wall as well if you need a little bit more support. So breathing here. Make sure you're not leaning forward. You want to pull that shoulder back towards the back. And then come back to center. So usually holding those for about 30 seconds is great. If you feel like you want to hold them longer, you can. If it's a little too much, you can always do it 10 to 15 seconds, but maybe add a couple of different repetitions. So go to one side and then the other, and then redo those if you're only holding them for a shorter period of time. Okay, so now we're going to do hip circles. So these are always fun. So we're going to go counterclockwise first. It doesn't matter which way you're going. We're going both directions. So just making sure that you're really feeling it. So you're coming all the way forward, and then you're going all the way back. You might feel this in your low back. These are amazing. A lot of people don't do them just because they look kind of silly, but they are very effective. And then let's go the other direction. So this way feels a little odd for me. Guess I'm dominant the other way. One more. Good, and coming back to center. All right, so the next one is actually going to be a seated stretch, but I am going to show you how to do it standing up in case you're not able to sit down like a job that you work. Maybe you're not able to sit down and do the stretch, so you can do it standing. So you want to get next to a wall, and you want to take your right foot and just bring it up over the left knee if you can. And then you just go like you're going to sit back in a chair. And that's why it's good to have the wall right next to you in case you need it. And so you really should feel that on that bent leg. And then coming up, and then we'll do the other side. So just taking the left leg, crossing over, and then sitting back. So you can hold wherever you need to. You could even hold the back of a couch or an office desk. Breathing here. And then coming back to center. All right, let me show you how to do that seated. All right, guys, that seated stretch, you're going to take your right foot. If you're not able to grab it, you can try and grab your pant leg, or you can even loop like a scarf or a belt around it to get it up here if that's possible for you. If that is not possible for you, then just skip this one altogether. But you're going to have your leg bent, and then you're going to push your right knee down towards the ground. So just you're leaning forward, putting pressure there. And you want to really stretch, but only do to what's comfortable, okay? And then coming back to center and switching sides. So leaning forward, pushing that left knee now towards the ground. And just take one more breath here. And release. All right, now sometimes your hamstrings can add to the problem when you have hip issues. So just taking your leg straight out in front of you and leaning over towards that leg. So you just have a straight leg, toes coming up towards your nose, so flexing your foot and breathing into the back of the leg. And depending where it's tight, you might feel it in the calf first. So you would want to breathe through that until you can feel it in your hamstring, the back of the leg here. And then we'll switch sides. So right foot forward, leaning forward. So this whole right leg is straight, and I'm bringing the right toes towards my nose. Keeping a nice straight back though. And then coming back to center. All right, so we worked a little bit on the hip joints. We did some stretching for the glutes, and we did some stretching for the hamstrings. So there's only one more thing that I would recommend, and that is our hip flexors. So when we did the hip circles, that stretches the hip flexors, but doing an isolated stretch would be best. So grabbing the back of a couch or a desk or a wall, taking your right leg back, and you want to be able to feel a stretch in the front of that right leg. So this back leg, you want to feel the stretch here. Now if you don't feel the stretch, you can get in a deeper lunge. And you just want to breathe here. Now I do have another video that I'll link in the description below that has more specific hip flexor stretches. So if you want to check that out after this video, you can. So let's go ahead and come to the other side. So you can grab whatever you want to. You're just in a lunge and you want to feel the stretch here. If you don't feel the stretch, you can always make sure you're sitting up nice and tall, pushing that heel back, and you might feel it a little bit better that way. And you want to hold these for about 30 seconds. You can hold them a little bit longer if you want to. And then coming back to center. All right, so I do have a yin yoga for hips. Don't be scared of the yoga part. If you're not familiar with yin yoga, you're holding certain poses for 3 to 5 minutes. It stretches the connective tissue. So it's not a flowing type yoga. It's just more of a stretch and hold type yoga. No pretzel stretches, I promise, and I give modifications for all those. So I'll link that down below as well if you want to check out yin yoga for hips. It's a great addition to anyone who wants to loosen their hips and feel a little bit better and a little bit more range of motion or a little bit more mobile in the hips, okay? So again, thank you so much for clicking on the video and watching, and I will see you next time. Take care.